Hello and welcome to Track by Track Reviews. My name is Rory Sullivan, and today I'm going to review the new album by the Bad Plus titled Never Stop. And the Bad Plus, if you don't know, is a three-man jazz trio from Minneapolis, Minnesota, who have sort of made a name for themselves by doing really bold covers of classic rock songs like Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd, Flim by Aphex Twin, not a classic rock song, but you know what I mean. Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and most notably, Smells Like Teen Spirit. So the big buzz about their new album is that there are none of these covers. Every song is an original composition by one of the members. And this is a pretty big deal because every single one of their albums previous has contained at least a cover or two. And in fact, their last album, called For All I Care, was all covers and no original compositions. So this is the exact opposite of that album. And for me, this is pretty exciting because I find the covers interesting and I think they're really cool. But I've always kind of preferred the original compositions like Everywhere You Turn and Big Eater. And I don't have any sound clips with me today, and being that this is a completely instrumental album, it's going to be kind of hard to go track by track, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like this band so much, and I'm going to do my best. So let's go track by track and check this out. The first track on the album, The Radio Tower Has a Beating Heart, starts off the way that many epic songs end. For the first 3 minutes, it's just like this jumbled, chaotic mess with only like hints of ideas here and there. The drummers playing all over the kit, hitting all the cymbals as if the song's going to end, but here it's the first 3 minutes of the song. But once that's over, the piano goes into this great jam. I think it's the best jam on the album. I think it's in like 10-8 or 10-4 or something like that. I'm not really sure. Someone post something if I'm a fucking idiot. But yeah, it's just a fantastic, everything instrumentally is so damn good. The next song, the title track, Never Stop, starts off really simple, or what seems like it's simple, and just gets more and more complex as the song goes on. Really, it's just the drums and piano sort of playing off of each other. And it gets really pretty, it gets really intense. Love this song. I think it's one of the best on the album. I highly, highly suggest this track if you like some really good piano. And the drums of Dave King are just so unappreciated, I think. I think he's one of the best drummers out there today. A lot of people say that the Bad Plus is a jazz band that's still sort of rooted in rock music. And I think that really comes through with the drums especially. The next track on the album, You Are, is a lot more on the jazz side of things than the rock side. And everyone in the band, the bass, the drums, and the piano, work really well together, and it's really together. But at the same time, there's this independence to where you could listen to this song 3 different times, each time only focusing on one instrument, and it could be a completely different song. It's really hard to take in everything these guys play in just one listen. Like, you've got to listen to this song multiple times to really get a hold of everything that's going on. And the great thing about this song is that each member sort of gets their shining moment in this song. I'd say at the beginning, the bass of Reed Anderson is really great, and I think that's where it shines. And then in the middle, Ethan Iverson has some really, really great piano parts. And then in about the 5th minute of this song, Dave King just goes absolutely nuts on the drums, and I love every second of it. The next song, My Friend Metatron, is the first song on the album that I think is really, really driven by the bass, which is kind of interesting because I believe this song is written by the drummer Dave King. As the song progresses, each instrument sort of goes off and does its own thing, but still at the root of it, I think it's driven by the bass. And while this song's not as melodically pleasing as the previous songs, the chops are still definitely there. The next song, People Like You, is the first song on the album that's really chilled out, and near the end it gets really, really pretty, like fantastic piano. The drums are really not doing a whole lot. They're really quiet, but I think that's kind of what needed to be done because the piano is really what shines in this song. And I think by the end of it, pretty much every key on the piano has Ethan Iverson's fingerprints on it. He's just all over the place, and he's an incredible piano player. I'm not going to say that this song is super, super engaging. It is about 9 minutes of this really slow style of music, and I like it, but I'm not super in love with it either. but it does kind of give us a break from the more chaotic tracks that we've gone through so far. The next song on the album, Beryl Loves to Dance, is a huge change from the last song, and as the title sort of implies, it's actually pretty danceable in a like old swingy kind of way. It's also back to more of a rock style of song, and there's these great like piano and drum freak out moments, and the bass just kind of manages to hold it all together. I'd say this is one of my favorites on the album. The next song, Snowball, is a return to that sort of slow, chilled out mood of People Like You. It's also pretty long, and the mood's a little more somber than that. I actually hear like a little part from the song Clair de Lune. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose or it was just kind of an accident, but that's sort of like the main hook in the song that just appears randomly throughout the song. The bass is great here. It really does some exploring. The piano's awesome once again, and the drums are also pretty restrained again. It does have a slight build. It gets a little louder towards the end, but for the most part, it's very slow and very quiet. Easily the most quiet song on the album. In the next song, 2 p.m., the drums are eager to get back in the mix, and it's a much quicker, louder song. I will say this song sort of comes off as a mess to me. I know they were trying to do that. It's not like these guys don't know what they're doing, but it just doesn't offer a whole lot to me melodically, and this song is just sort of missing a melody here or there that would make this song really good. The next song, Bill Hickman at Home, refers to a stunt driver, Hollywood stunt driver from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. I admit I had to look that one up. And this song is sort of like a combination of, not really a combination, it's just kind of in between the slower, chilled out songs on this album and the more energetic ones. It just kind of sits in the middle and doesn't really fall on either side. And it also has this interesting old, like, western-y feel, which can be attributed to this really old-timey, out-of-tune piano that I'm not sure where they found it or who it belonged to, but in a video that I'll leave a link to in the info box, you'll see this old piano that was just incredibly out of tune, and they had to sort of clean it up and tune it up a little bit. But they just sort of used this old piano because they liked the way it sounded, and it gives it this kind of western-y feel that I like. I think for this album, it's a pretty unique sound, and that's what I like about it. And I like the song, but it's not one of my favorites. The last song on the album, Super America, I won't say it ends the album with a bang, because it's not incredibly loud, but it is pretty energetic. It's got like this kind of gospel kind of feel to it. I can imagine like a big black woman in a yellow robe just screaming at the top of her lungs. And I don't know if this was the best choice as a closer, but then again, there were several sort of slower songs in the middle and end of this album to where a slow song wouldn't have been the best choice either. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the song's pretty good. I think the song's pretty good, though. Okay, so, I mean, that's the album. Overall, I like this album. I don't get into too much modern jazz these days, but for the Bad Plus, I'll always go out of my way to hear what they've got to offer because they're all so talented. I mean, each member really knows what they're doing, and of course I respect them for their instrumental skill. They're all just phenomenal at their instruments. Especially Dave King. God damn, I fucking love Dave King. And also, I'll leave a link to this interview with Dave King where he talks about how they dealt with their big record company that used invasive software in some of their CDs in an attempt to fight piracy or something. And the Bad Plus really didn't like that, so they dropped their big record company and moved somewhere else, which, I mean, damn, if that's not indie, I don't know what is. And I feel like the first half of this album was really great. I mean, but once it gets to Beryl Loves to Dance, the rest of the album is just kind of okay. And that was kind of disappointing. But that first half is just really good. And that's not to say the second half songs are bad. They're just not as great as the first half songs. So while I was originally excited that every single song was an original composition, I actually wouldn't have minded if some of the longer, slower songs would have been replaced by a cover here or there. I think it would have made the album a little more listenable and a little more engaging. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10, though, seeing that some of the songs on this album are absolutely amazing. I love the title track, Never Stop. Beryl Loves to Dance is awesome. Radio Tower Has a Beating Heart is amazing. All these songs are really, really, really good. So that's sort of what's holding this album up. And since I didn't really give you a chance to hear this album, like I said, there's going to be links to an interview and this exclusive video. It's not exclusive. I don't know why I said that. But it's just a video sort of the making of this album. And you'll hear some clips from the title track, Never Stop, Radio Tower Has a Beating Heart, Bill Hickman at Home, and some other ones. So go check out that video, because not only are you going to be able to hear some of the songs, but you'll get to see the personalities of the people in this band. And they've got a great attitude, and they're very humble about how talented they are. And I think that makes them even more likable. So check that out. And once again, it's the Bad Plus with their album Never Stop. So go check this one out. And until next week, I'm Rory Sullivan with Track by Track Reviews. See you next week.